I, 28 male, have a younger sister, Sarah, 24. She has always been a little self-centered, and my parents did spoil her quite a bit, at least in my opinion. If an event or something was going on that wasn't directly related to her, she didn't want to do it. She would either complain the entire time or make a scene about not wanting to be there. Eventually, my parents just gave in and stopped fighting her over it because it was easier. When I got married 5 years ago, Sarah ended up not coming to the wedding because she decided at the last minute that she was too stressed from her freshman year at college and needed time with her friends to unwind and decompress. My wedding was in July, and she had been home from college for almost 2 months at that point. She didn't even tell me she wasn't coming herself. I had to hear that from my parents. She didn't come to a baby shower for my firstborn a year later because it would have been too far to travel for just a weekend. It was a 90-minute drive from her college, and we had told her that she could spend the night at our place. I saw on her Instagram the next week that she was out clubbing with friends all weekend. I called her and told her how disappointed I was that she continually refused to attend major life events that were important to me. She actually told me, "It's not that big of a deal. You'll probably have more kids, right?" At that point, I pretty much decided that I wasn't going to put any effort into maintaining a relationship with Sarah. And since then, I've done the bare minimum. Sure, I see her at Christmas, maybe Thanksgiving, but I don't talk to her. Then about 6 months ago, Sarah got knocked up by a one-night stand. She's keeping the baby, even though the father has made it clear he wants nothing to do with her or his child. That's her choice, and I'm not going to judge her for it. But when she sent my wife an invite to her baby shower, I actually laughed. My wife thinks we should go because Sarah will have it very hard as a single mother. I don't doubt that one bit. I will never be able to relate to what Sarah's life will be like, but that's not my problem. I told my wife I wouldn't stop her from going, but I wouldn't be attending. As it turns out, the shower conflicts with a work event for my wife, so she can't go either. So I declined the invitation. Sarah called me a couple of days later, asking why we had declined the invite. So I told her that my wife had a work event and that I would be watching our kids. She said I could bring the kids, but I told her I wouldn't be doing that. She asked why, and I asked if she really wanted to know. When she said she did, I told her that she made it a point to avoid every major life event I had, so how could she expect me to want to go to hers? She called me an idiot and hung up. My parents said I was too harsh and that Sarah needs our support more than ever, but I feel like that bridge has already been burnt. Not the idiot. Surprised you didn't just go with. It's not that big of a deal. You'll probably have more kids, right? I would just let your parents know that you're just doing what they taught you was the acceptable treatment of a sibling. I would not put it past Sarah to just want a gift from you or help when she has the baby. It doesn't sound like she's even sorry for her actions. Not the idiot. It astounds me the number of people who burn bridges, then are surprised when the people on the other side won't go out of their way to cross the river. I wonder how interesting being a mother will be for her when she stops being the center of attention the moment the baby is outside of her. No one will care she exists. Enjoy that. Everyone's the idiot here. Your sister messed up, yes, but she was a child acting like a child. You are an adult. You have your life together. If you didn't want to go, you could have just said something that got you out of it. You didn't have to rub it in her face. This is the first time your sister had to step up in her life, and she needs people now more than ever. Is that fair? No. But you have two choices. Be an idiot, hold your ground, and 100% burn that bridge, or grow up and start fresh here. I, 20 male, have a tendency to not believe people when they tell me something. My first instinct is always no, that's wrong, and I'll do it my way. Even if there's some expert in their field, my first instinct is to doubt what they say. My brother, 29, says it's because I labor under the delusion that I'm smarter than I am and that I was an idiot for thinking I knew better and never apologizing when I was wrong. My sister-in-law, Ruth, is a nurse, and yesterday in a family Zoom, she said unfortunately, she wouldn't be able to join everyone for Thanksgiving. She was supposed to have this year off, but her hospital is all hands on deck because several nurses are quarantined. Without thinking about it, I said the first thing that came to mind. That's not true, you just don't want to make the trip. My parents and brother jumped all over me, and Ruth sarcastically said, yeah, I'd much rather spend 12 or more hours on my feet dealing with sick people than enjoying a good home-cooked meal. I got irritated because I felt attacked, so I signed off. I got a message from my mom saying I owe Ruth an apology. I said I wasn't going to apologize for that. My brother is saying I need to grow up and stop being an idiot, and the sooner I realize I'm not the smartest person in the room, the better my life will be. I think everyone is really overreacting, and that's just how I am, but I figured I'd put it out here. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. I cannot stress enough that you are, unequivocally, the idiot here. It sounds like you owe pretty much anyone who knows you an apology. First, there's being a skeptic, and then there's being an uninformed contrarian. One's wise, and the other is insufferable. Guess what you are? There's an old saying that I think fits here. Better to be thought a fool than open your mouth and remove all doubt. What? You were saying you'll hear an expert in something say something related to their field, and your first response is to say, nah, I know better. Your brother is right. It sounds like you suffer from delusions of intellectual grandeur. You wrongly assumed you knew she was lying because of whatever lame reason you comfort yourself with, and then your poor feelings got hurt because people dared to tell you to knock it off. No, being how you are isn't a free pass to be an idiot. Your family deserves an apology from you. Often the root of such arrogance and the need to be superior is deep and abiding insecurity. Is it possible that the reason you feel the need to make such proclamations is deep insecurity and need to telegraph your superiority to anyone who might be listening? Why are you so insecure, OP? I have the money. That's not the issue. I'm 29 female, hubby is 30, mother-in-law is 60, and her boyfriend is 59. All four of us work full-time. Last year, my mother-in-law called us up and asked if we would be willing to get a house with her and her boyfriend. The reason behind it is because all of us are struggling financially, following us footing my brother-in-law's $18K worth of lawyer fees. She thought getting a place together would help us all out, and she was 100% right. I agreed with her. It would help out drastically. So she gets approved for a house loan a few months later and starts her search. That's when the problems start arising. My mother-in-law acts like she's only doing this for herself. For example, she is looking for houses to accommodate only her and her boyfriend, not us. Like small homes that would definitely not leave enough space for us all. Only looking at homes within 10 minutes driving distance to her work, despite knowing that it would take both my husband and I at least an hour and 20 minutes to get to and from work every day, if we move to that area. She also has been looking into houses that need work and has said that my husband and I are young and limber and can do the repairs ourselves because we both know a lot about house building. We both are a jack of all trades and know how to do everything except electric. None of it sat right with me, and we sat down and talked to her about it some months back. This threw her off track, I guess, because after that, she just stopped searching altogether. We just told her that we can't be that far away from work, and we won't have time or energy to work repairs on a rundown house after working 5 to 6 days a week, and that we weren't willing to be crammed into one tiny bedroom with all our stuff when we would be paying for half of the house. Anyways, 2 weeks ago, she continued her search after a long break, and she called us to say that she'd found a place. We looked it up, and it actually fits all of the expectations we had. It doesn't need any work. It's halfway between our work and hers. It's large. So we went to look at it with her 3 days ago. Well, she called us last night and told us that we need to come up with $10,000 for the home loan. I actually had no problem with it initially because I thought we were going halves, and she also was putting in $10,000. But that wasn't the case. She said she didn't have any money to put toward the loan, and it was entirely up to us. I said no, absolutely not. I'm not putting in $10,000, my entire savings, when both she and her boyfriend work full-time, and there is no reason they can't put something toward the loan as well. She argues that she accommodated our needs, and now it's our turn to meet halfway. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. and I would strongly recommend that you do not get a house with them. Instead, look for a smaller house for just you and your husband. It sounds like if you go in with them, they're going to be entitled and expect you guys to do all the work while they mooch off you. Buying a house with someone is so much more than renting an apartment together. I would only do it with someone I was 100% confident would live up to their end of the deal. Unfortunately, based on your mother-in-law's actions, I don't have that confidence. Do not, for the love of God, buy this house. Her boyfriend sounds as though he has nothing to contribute, and should he and your mother-in-law ever split, boom, it's half his, or a quarter, or whatever. Also, one thing to note, why had they not saved any money to contribute whatsoever while they were house hunting? Not the idiot. I want to put a big word of warning out to you. Consider their age. They are both at or nearing 60. Mortgages tend to be for 30 years. You reference no savings, which also makes me think that they have nothing saved for retirement. They also aren't married. I would never jointly own a property with someone I wasn't married to, let alone a couple that isn't married. Do you want joint ownership of a house with two people in that situation? That seems like an awful idea. My husband is on his phone from the time he wakes up in the morning to when he goes to bed at night, including when he's eating. He uses Facebook and looks at memes on his phone for around 14 hours a day. In the past, I sometimes asked him if we could spend time together and if he could put his phone down for a few minutes. And he would say, "You can sit next to me, but don't bother me though." Though the typical response would be getting mad or saying, "Leave me alone, go away, don't disturb me." That brings us to today's incident. He is currently with family. I texted him how he was doing and he told me, "I'm on Facebook, stop bothering me." I told him, "Please politely talk to me." He said, "You're such an evil person. You want to stop me from doing anything or having any time to myself." When he's here at home, he locks himself in the other room, which he calls his room. Ironic since I pay for everything. And he gets angry if I try to talk to him. So I don't think that's true. Edit. He expects an allowance for my hard-earned money, not just for food, and he can't even politely talk to me? He pushed for marriage. It turns out he just wanted someone to pay for his life. I just want to clarify he was not forced to marry me. I've never told him not to go on Facebook and that he can't be on his phone all day, though I have asked if he would be willing to put his phone down for a few minutes and talk to me or go on a walk. Always gets declined. Then he said, "You are preventing me from self-improvement." How is writing rude comments on social media to strangers his self-improvement? Or I look at life as if you weren't in it. At that point, I muted his text because it was getting to be too much to handle. I genuinely feel that I've never told him he can't be on his phone, but only asked him to say, "I'm on Facebook, can't talk now," or "This isn't a good time to talk," or "I'm busy," or not answer if he's busy, rather than being rude. But he insists I don't let him get any time to himself. Would you please tell me if he's gaslighting me, or if I'm delusional and my sanity has left the room? Also, I have another question. Is it just me, or is it rude to say "stop bothering me" instead of "I'm busy"? He told me that I'm being oversensitive and twisting his words, and that "stop bothering me" is the same as saying "I'm busy." But to me, it sounds rude. Why on earth are you with someone who never engages with you? What are you getting from this relationship, other than a lot of grief? Come on, you know what you need to do. The suitcases are waiting. Not the idiot a million zillion times. This guy has no interest in being a husband. Let him go. Imagine if they have kids and she's at work. The kid gets injured, has to go to the hospital. She calls him saying, "Kid is in the hospital. You need to come to be with us." And his response is, "Don't talk to me, I'm on Facebook." OP, you deserve better. Please send him a note on Facebook with the name and number of your attorney. He's either addicted to his phone or he's cheating. Either way, the first time someone said, "I look at life as if you weren't in it," they would be living life without me in it. If he's on his phone 14 hours a day, then that means he contributes nothing to the household except mess making and stress. Regardless of the circumstances in your relationship, the way he speaks to you is wrong on so many levels. I'm sorry you pay for everything, and he sits on his butt and okays around on his phone all day? He doesn't get to treat you like a live-in bangmaid. Honestly, kick him to the curb with the rest of the trash. Would you please get out of this relationship, OP? It'll be hard, and you might be lonely, but eventually you will find a partner who's nice to you and wants to be an active member of your life. Don't settle for this treatment now. It seems like it can only escalate from here. I, 27 female, have a little sister, Emily, 20. My husband, 27, and I have been together since our college days. When we started dating, Emily, who was 13 then, seemed to have this little crush on my husband, then boyfriend. She would blush in his presence, stutter while talking to him, etc. We assumed that the crush went away as she grew older, and her behavior indicated so. My husband thinks of Emily as the little sister he never had and treats her as such. We've not had much contact with Emily over the years, as we live in a different state on the other side of the country, and she's been busy with her schooling. However, last week my parents and Emily visited our house for my birthday weekend. From the moment Emily arrived, she would not stop flirting with my husband, from excessively complimenting everything he did to proclaiming things like they would make a great pair, etc. My husband looked very uncomfortable, and so did my parents. I don't know how we got through the dinner. After the evening was done, my husband asked me if there was something wrong with Emily and why was she behaving like that. He said she made him very uncomfortable and asked me to talk to her. So I found her alone and tried telling her that she had or has a crush, but it's never acceptable to make anyone uncomfortable. I told her that it would be nice to keep her distance for the remaining 2 days, since he was not okay with this behavior. She said she wasn't being flirty or improper. I told her that she was indeed being inappropriate, and it was very creepy that she would try to flirt with my husband. She got very defensive and said that I was being insecure. And I quote, "If I was flirting with him, you wouldn't stand a chance." I lost it at this point and told her that she was no longer welcome in our house and should leave first thing in the morning. Emily and my parents left the very next day. Even though my dad agreed that Emily's behavior throughout the evening was very inappropriate and that she should apologize to my husband, Mom thinks nothing of that sort happened, and all three of us are being delusional, and that it was a dick move to kick Emily, and by extension her, out of my house when they traveled all the way here. Am I the idiot? LOL, your sister is dealing with some issues. You are not the idiot here. Your partner came to you feeling extremely uncomfortable about your sister's actions, and you diplomatically brought it to your sister's attention, and she got defensive instead of apologizing. Not the idiot. You did all you could. It was either kick her out or force your partner to be uncomfortable in his own home. Your husband confirmed your instincts when he told you that your sister's behavior made him uncomfortable. And her response, "If I was flirting with him, you wouldn't stand a chance," cements the fact that you did the right thing. If she were truly innocent, she'd apologize and amend her behavior. It makes me wonder if the mom encouraged her for some reason, since she called OP, her husband, and her, the mom's, husband delusional. It doesn't matter whether she was technically trying to flirt or not. What matters is that she was making your husband uncomfortable, was offered a reasonable boundary, and refused to change or even think about her behavior. So while her view about flirting is concerning, it's not the immediate issue. Emily is 20, so I'm unsure why kicking her out means kicking out your parents.